A lot of people are making some new healthy habit changes.
Creating a new habit is hard. It's so hard.
It is. It's really hard. Bad habits are easy.
Bad habits are like so easy. Hi, everyone. I'm Michele Welch, and I'm a certified meditation teacher.
And I'm Glenda Britton, a registered holistic nutritionist. We have 5 tips for you today that are so easy. You will have all the good habits that you need. So make sure you subscribe and give us a thumbs up.
Correct. Why do you want to give us a thumbs up? Because you love us.
Here we go.
What the heck should we be doing to make these habits stick? That's all I want to know.
Yeah, well, it's such a great question because so many people are making these changes. I know I am as well. But when we get back to the new normal, what's that going to look like? How are we going to make sure that we don't fall back into our own ways, old ways? We know we need to be making these changes. The planet is talking to us now, right?
Yes.
We've got a virus that's out of control. We've got pollution that's out of control. We know it's time to make changes. We can't go back. We have to go forward.
Grab a piece of paper because you're going to want to take notes because we have 5 super easy tips that will help you nail down all the good habits that you want to take forward. Okay, Glenda, why don't I hand it over to you and you can lead with our first tip.
Okay, tip number 1, you got to meet yourself where you're at. It's not
Right.
about being like any other practitioner or the author of some great book that you read. It's about you. There's 3.5 billion people on the planet. There are 3.5 billion good diets or good ways of eating and lifestyle habits and that kind of thing. So if you like to eat something, like think when it comes to food, if there must be something that you know is healthy, pat yourself on the back. Continue doing that. See if you have a smoothie, maybe you can add something a little bit extra healthy, like a green powder or maybe a bit of good quality yogurt or something like that to it for some fermented foods. Meeting yourself out where it's at is going to make it so much easier for you. So that takes us to number 2, Michele.
Right. So number 2 is what we call chunking. And it's like starting small. It's what you had me do, Glenda, with the smoothies when you're putting in, a little bit of green powder that you don't dump in a tablespoon initially. You start with maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon and you inch your way up. So you're rewarding your taste buds along the way. And that can translate into all kinds of habits that you're trying to instill in yourself. You take it down to the smallest possible chunk and reward yourself for doing the little chunks. So for example, we all know the benefits of meditation, from down-regulating stress and clearing your mind and becoming more emotionally resilient. We know that. We got it. Do we all meditate 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour a day? No. What do you want to do? Not beat yourself up. Like Glenda said, you got to start where you're at. And maybe where you're at is you stop and you just be still for 10 seconds. Maybe after you drink your smoothie. And then you build that up. And then maybe the next time you're going to do it for 20 seconds. And you're chunking that habit and associating it with a time on the clock or a timer on your phone or after you've eaten or before you've eaten or when you first get up. The benefits are immediate, just like that little bit of goodness you put in your smoothie, that healthy ingredient, that whole food, that is a benefit and that's immediate.
Yeah.
So that's chunking. Click the thumbs up for us to let us know that you're with us on this. And you can even put a thumbs up in the comments, especially if you're too busy and don't have the time to comment. But you get thumbs up's good. Heart emoji's nice too. And so Glenda, you've got tip number 3.
So tip number 3, it's all about the wins. You want to make sure that this is kind of fun and enjoyable, especially when it comes to food, because food, we use food for celebrations. We use food to make us, not that we necessarily should be using foods to make ourselves feel better, but heck, we do. Everyone's baking these days. We are staying home and we are cooking. We are coming together and celebrating with our families and loved ones if we're lucky enough to be able to do that right now. And or you can always have a Zoom call and share a meal. Like Michele and I are sharing information today. So make sure it's something that you like. I know somebody that instead of putting a green powder and that kind of thing into her smoothie, because she doesn't want to wreck her smoothie, she does a little shot
Oh,
of green powder and water separately. That's not my cup of tea, but that's how she likes to do it. So it's about looking at the wins, because it is win-win, right? Like,
yeah.
even if you don't have to be adding tons of sauerkraut and all different kinds of green foods and that kind of thing, if it doesn't float your boat, if you don't really like it. But if it's just a little bit, you're pushing the needle, you're moving the needle towards health and helping to start better habits too.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
So number 4, Michelle?
Number 4 is all about visual cues. So I know that oftentimes you'll remind me to just like keep the recipe out so that you're, until it's a habit, until you remember what goes in it. So for example, the smoothie, you might be putting new things in it and you might forget because they're not in your line of sight. I know I've had to pull things into the front of the fridge so that when I open it, I actually go, oh yeah, I'm supposed to add a little bit of yogurt to that, because it's easy to forget. And
Mhm.
so those visual cues can help. Having a checklist, like in our Energy Remedy online course, we have checklists to help people be accountable, to go through and check off. I like to check things off on the calendar that I keep on the fridge. Like, I'm trying to drink more water these days because I'm notoriously dehydrated, I think. So I'm trying to do that. And so I have to check it off or I completely forget. Oh yeah, I thought I drank that. But anyway, so visual cues are very, very helpful.
Yeah.
So, and number 5, I'll throw back to you.
All right. Wow. This is really good news. And it's easy if you know how. You don't have to do this alone, because it can, for a few reasons, right? Not everybody wants to hear about all the good healthy habits that you're putting, into your day-to-day life. We see a lot of it on social media right now. Some bad habits, some good habits, that kind of thing, but people have more time for that kind of thing, sharing of what they're going through themselves. Perhaps your partner doesn't really want to hear about it. Your kids probably really don't want to hear about it. So there are other ways. We, Michelle and I, have a Facebook group of other wellness warriors like ourselves who are interested in knowing more about mindfulness, meditation, nutrition, supplements, whatever, that kind of thing, to help us, empower us, give us the knowledge and support that we need to actually move forward. And so I think having a buddy through this, changing habits kind of thing, sticking with habits is key. It's really helpful.
Right. And I know we've talked about this before, but sometimes we get overwhelmed with all the self-help ideas.
Yeah.
So many out there, and we're home and it's in our face now. Social media is telling us, do this, try that. And it becomes a bit overwhelming. So I think this process of starting where you're at in your own life and just moving the needle a teeny bit forward and then celebrating that.
Yeah,
And it's good for your mental health too, because then you're less judgmental about yourself and
definitely.
comparing yourself, right? It's too
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
know I feel a little overwhelmed with, I should be doing this exercise and that. And you just got to start. You just got to start. All right. So
So
don't forget to subscribe, because when you subscribe to more awesomeness that is called Glenda and Michele.
that's right. If you're watching this, then you're probably already doing a lot of really good things. So
Yeah.
just watch you.
Yeah. Well, as usual, this has been awesome. Thanks, Glenda. It was great talking to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Yeah. Self-isolation. Hugs.
Yeah. Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Easy. I want easy.
I want easy.